Hello, 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 hello. We are making a video, the baby dog and I. He is already in the van. Yes. And Paul is gonna take a shower and then we're gonna go see Albino and Unicorn and the baby horse. And that's gonna be fun. And then we're gonna go for a walk at Ship Ashore and maybe go to the beach for a little while. And then we have a bunch of work to do at the other house. So that is what we have to do. So much work. Okay. Oh, this is my new sweater that I made. Nice sweater, comes all the way over the hips. Okay, and it is lovely. It even has a little bit lace here on the top. And it has a lacy transparent layer over a colored layer. And that looks really, really nice. I really like it. It's gorgeous. So it's a gorgeous, gorgeous sweater that I made. I'm very happy with it. I'm learning as I go, so I see what the problems are, and then on the next sweater I improve it. I already improved this underarm area here to make it not too tight. But I see that the arms are a little bit short. This is sticking up a little bit. I have to make this 2 inches longer, and this here make it a little bit narrower, just a little bit, like an inch or so. But it's pretty good. It's already pretty good. And it's a little tight fitting here. So I have to make this a little bit wider over there, and then it will be perfect. Yeah, so I want to make an empowerment video. So we need to empower ourselves, no matter how mentally ill we are, no matter how much pain from the past goes through our heads, or at night we dream about uncomfortable stuff, and I always do. It's very, very extremely rare that I dream about something positive. So I had one positive dream about Danny. I'm not gonna get into the details of it. It's not necessary. But that dream was nice. And that was like, I don't know, like a week or two ago at night in my sleep. And a beautiful dream that made me feel good. And also got me thinking about my pain, the kind of pain, because that dream was, although it was neurotic, it made me feel good. So maybe I'll talk about another time about it. I'm not feeling like this theme doesn't really match empowerment, I think. So no, it goes more into neurosis and bondage type of stuff. I mean, not extreme, but it goes a little bit in that direction, and that's not empowerment. But it's interesting that I dream about this. That sure is interesting for me to ponder over, for a long time, what the heck is going on there, and how does this evolve in my life, through the emotional pain from childhood and so on. But whatever emotional pain from childhood we have, and uncomfortable dreams, and my dreams are always, it's usually a grinding struggle with someone. It's always struggle. Krage in Sanskrit. Krage means It's interesting that Sanskrit from India, the religious Indian ancient language. Sanskrit means sacred, holy scriptures. That's what it really means, I guess. So, and a lot of those words, a lot of those ancient Indian words, are actually directly tied in with German words that go in the same direction of that meaning. So I know that there is a very close word relationship and commonality and origin. Okay, they share the same origins. So krage in Sanskrit means I want, I need, I take, right? And in German, the word Kralle is like a cat's paw with long fingernails, which I can't serve. I don't like long fingernails, but Kralle is like it goes in the same direction. It means I'm clawing something. I want something. Krage, Kralle, wanting, craving also fits into with this. Kr means craving. So I have a lot of cravings. Yeah, and I have to become consciously aware about it. And that's the healing process, to become consciously aware about all of this. That's very, very important. That there's a lot of flies out there. I tried to make a video outside, but then there were these little biting flies coming at me, and one went into my bra and bit me right in the boob. Oh my gosh. And then something itched on my other boob as well. I had to get up and leave. That's just doesn't work. And also I swing the computer around, I show everything, and then I always have the license plate back in it, and that just doesn't work. So I have to make the video in here. That's all there is to it, while I wait for Paul. And I'm glad I'm wearing shorts, because it was cold when I got up, but I wanted to wear these shorts that I made tighter in the leg. Paul gave those to me. These are amazing shorts. And maybe I'll show that later when we go to the horses. They fit really well. I'm amazed they fit on the top because of my spare tire. And I have my self-painted belt on, and it feels really good, because now it's getting really hot suddenly, and I'm glad I'm not wearing the winter pants. So we're going to see the horses, albino and unicorn, and baby horse, with the baby dog and the albino horse. He loves the baby dog. He absolutely loves him. Baby dog was scared of him in the beginning. He was scared of all horses in the beginning, but now he's gradually getting used to them, because he sees Paul and me petting them, and he sees that the horses are nice, that they are nuzzling us gently. And I see a bumblebee. I saw a ladybug earlier, and I was so happy to see that ladybug in there, because when you see ladybugs, that means the ecosystem is much more balanced. So the people here in this environment, they have sprayed stuff, and I'm sure they sprayed glyphosate, which is Roundup. I still have to write a petition letter, make my own petition letter, to Governor Kate Brown and Governor Gavin Newsom. Very important, okay? It doesn't even do any good to write to Joe Biden. That's a waste of time. Don't even bother with this, because that's going to be tossed away by the corporate agenda, which are the ones running this country. The corporate agenda is 100%, 100% running the United States. Okay. And with that much leverage, of course, the vested interest people are in there that bribe their way through. They literally pay for laws that serve them. And with that, then someone like Governor Newsom will just bow down to that and take the bribe money. I'm sure he takes bribe money the way he has handled things. They breed their own voters. They asylum their own voters. Okay. And with that, things are going down the drain. The politician, the career politician, I don't even like that word so much. It sounds too positive. It's an understatement. How do I word myself with this? The extreme corrupt politicians, they don't seem to care if things go down the drain. They can't even see one step ahead. They can't even see a week ahead in front of them. Not even a week. They see money right now. Money, money, money. That's all they see. It's sad. Man, that's awful. It's scary that people like this are running this country. I love this country. I love the United States deeply. Okay. This country is my refuge. Okay. This country is a habitat for all beings. Okay. For the ladybug, the bumblebee, for the plants, the blueberry bushes, blueberry shrubs, blackberry shrubs, the alfalfa, the oak tree, all beings, frogs, baby dogs, horses, humans, giraffes, all beings, pigs, the two pigs that are comforting each other before death row. This country is supposed to be there for all beings. The country, by the country I mean the earth under us. Okay. This whole planet is my planet and your planet. Things should never even be separated or divided or segregated. Everything should be one unit. People should be working together with each other. Asylum seekers should be infinitely grateful for the place they have been given. A safe place, a safe haven. But it's the violent asylum seekers, not the original Europeans that come here. It's the violent asylum seekers that have no gratitude for the peace and for the environment that was given to them. Some of them got a house even. Some of them get $5,000 from our tax money per month. When the original people here have to struggle and struggle and struggle to assure, to reassess their, to reassert their or claim their retirement. They have to work day and night their whole lives to have a home, that is then taken away from them because the property tax is raised, and they end up in their van. That is what's going to happen. Okay, and they work their entire life for 60 years so that they can move into a van, not even a motorhome, and to move into a van if they're lucky. Some of them have to move into a car and sleep sitting up. I'm not making this up. This is what's happening. Okay, and this is not justice. This is not fairness. And that's not empowerment. And yet, many of these older people, older white people, yet they still feel accomplished. Because they know what they have done their whole lives was honest, and it was straightforward, and it was hard work. And these nobody can take that psychologically away from them. Okay, even if they move into a van, they end up buying an acre for $1,000 or $2,000 somewhere out there in the desert. That's where all the white people are moving to, because all the beautiful natural abundant environment places, ocean properties, ocean areas, the equator, owned, craggy, occupied by the violent asylum seekers and by the violent native people. That's what's happening. And they take over, and the people work their whole lives, real hard work. They do feel accomplished because they know what they have done. But they don't want to hang around in a totally polluted environment, and polluted with glyphosate and trash and loud engines and loud music and rap music and violence and shooting and all of these kind of things. Deer shooting and gang shooting and all that violence going on. No, they will say no, we want peace. This is not our idea of peace. So let's move inland. Let's move away from this chaos. And they still feel empowered. And you know why? Because empowerment and wealth is in your head. It's psychological. Okay. It's in your mind. Your soul, your mind, your brain, your entire body is filled with that empowerment if you know you have lived a very honest and straightforward life so far, and you continue to do that. And you're resourceful and you figure things out. Okay. You make it work, no matter what the odds are. That's empowerment. Okay, that's biceps. Okay. That's total power. Total power. I don't know which way this goes like this. That's power, okay? That's in your mind. Mind power. And then we have what Friedrich Nietzsche calls the last human, which is the unempowered person. I don't want to mention the name again. But you know who I'm talking about, The last human, the unempowered male of the United States, the self-proclaimed incel. But it's not involuntary, of course. It's very voluntary, because they cause that themselves, they make that themselves. If they are violent to women, okay, then that's what happens. They're going to be alone, they're going to be frustrated, or they're with someone they don't like very much, and they want someone else, and the way they think they get that other person is through extreme psychological abuse. Then that they don't get that other person. It's all very straightforward. Actually, mosquitoes are coming in here. This is not super. How do we deal with this? No, I don't know how to deal with this. I'm gonna have to. Okay, I have something here. Oh. I'm gonna put this on my arm. Yes. There's Velida rose balm in here and other stuff. And this works. Yes, that works. Okay. Okay, that was OCD. And I also have a hand sanitizer that is partly consisting of some kind of alcohol-based hand sanitizer and the original one, and Dr. Hauschka's rose body lotion. It's pretty neat too. This is pretty neat. Like it. I like it. So, but I don't like alcohol on my skin. I'm just using this up now. But after I used up all the alcoholic kind of salves and balms and liquids for my hand, then I'm not gonna get any more, because I don't want to. And we're gonna plan on a yard sale, hopefully for August, and I want to sell all of my alcohol perfume sprays. So because I don't use those anymore, I spray them sometimes on my sleeves, on the fabric, but not on the skin anymore. So I don't want alcohol on my skin. So I'm gonna I don't know, sell it or give it away. I already gave a whole bunch of really expensive perfumes that I got from my mother and that I bought in Germany. I gave all of those to my friend Joanna, and she was happy to get it, and that's good. So that's good, and she really appreciated it. So that's really good, because I didn't want the alcohol on my skin anymore. But I miss the perfumes. I should have kept them and sprayed it on my sleeves instead. But whatever, I do these kind of things. I get into giveaway frenzies a lot, and Paul doesn't like that at all. I'm gonna have a lot of freebies on my yard sale, so I'm gonna put that into the ad with it. And he's gonna sell his drum set also for $500, entire drum set. Real good drums, because he's not gonna play drums anymore. He's retiring now, and he ruined his hearing with playing drums. So yeah, Friedrich Nietzsche talks about this, talks about empowerment versus unempowerment. And I read some passages of translations, English translations, and I was very unhappy with those. And I thought, oh, those English translations are very, very bad interpretations. Okay, so they don't capture very well what Nietzsche actually was saying. Some of those things may even lead up to terrible misunderstandings. But the main misunderstanding that was caused was through Sister Elisabeth Förster Nietzsche, the sister of Friedrich Nietzsche. When Nietzsche was, when he suffered from an STD that at that time actually caused him a form of encephalitis type of spongiform dementia. That was very intense, very extreme. Syphilis. And at that time they didn't have anything to get rid of that. So he was, for the last 5 years or so of his life, he was under the care of Elisabeth and his mother, and he said, and he even wrote in letters to friends, even though his mind was gradually becoming more and more liquefied, he still wrote to his friends that this is worse than being crucified, or this is like, he's at the mercy of the worst. And he signed his letters with the crucified. I think he even signed his letters with Jesus and the Nazarene. He often referred to Jesus as the Nazarene. So funny. Yeah, those were called his last insane letters. The very last letters to friends were his mad letters. Were some of them are preserved in museums, and as his mind was liquefying, it was completely, perfectly in synchronicity with his also very liquefying philosophy. The philosophy had already been going in that direction before he got the syphilis. And he got the syphilis from hookers, of course. He couldn't find a girlfriend because he was just too weird. But he was deliberately weird because he hated people. And of course, how can you find a partner if you have a grudge already, if you have a grudge attitude like this, But he was constantly also introspecting on that at the same time, and he was constantly burning what he called burning himself into ashes and coming back out of the ashes like a phoenix and coming out new. What he means by this is introspection and completely decluttering of thoughts and ideas or any kind of ego clinging, any kind of identification, self-identification, shredding it up and renewing himself all the time. And he wasn't always in a grudge, he wasn't always mean to people. He was always very, very polite. Even when he was angry, he let things out in his letters and in his books. So, which made a lot of people mad, of course, and half of humanity hates him because of that. The Nazarene. And I'm not going to get into all of his past incarnations, because that will make people really, really mad if I bring this up now. But he was misunderstood because during his last 5 years, his mind was slowly disintegrating, but this was in synchronicity with the philosophy, because the entire mind, the entire the mind as the me, the I, the self, he understood already long before he got sick. He understood that this had to be disintegrated. This had to be going in that direction, and then naturally he will attract an illness like this or a situation like this, which will be in synchronicity to that philosophy. That's very interesting. So it's very metaphysical. He was like the living example of the dissolution of self and the idea of self, the idea of not the dissolution of the person, but the dissolution of the idea of me, the ego, the self, this who am I? It doesn't matter. Eventually everyone disintegrates. It doesn't matter who we are. What matters is that we live our lives according to compassion and empathy for others, for other beings, for other bodies. Dog, bumblebee, plants, child, human, camel, lion, all of those beings, We practice compassion for them. Yeah, and that brings me to the lion analogy, of course, that he had created, which is, in order to empower yourself, you have to first question things, and you have to say no to some things. You have to, if you're a load-bearing camel in a metaphorical way, if you just take other people's shit and you carry it and you compound it and you just accept everything everyone says, then you're not in a good mental state. You're an unempowered person. Okay, so the last human is a very unempowered, load-bearing camel, and he doesn't even know it. He thinks he's the opposite, but he is the pushover. Okay, and in order to free yourself from that, in order to empower yourself out of that, you have to first go through another stage, okay, which is one level up, and that's the stage of the lion, okay, the rebel. You have to say no to some bullshit in society. You have to say no to some laws or some religions. You have to say no to it. You have to rebel against it. You have to stand up against it. You have to speak out. That's the lion stage, okay? You might even have to punch your pillow like I do sometimes, okay? That's the lion stage. And then there's another level after the lion stage, when the lion gradually becomes a child, okay? And that's what Jonathan Mese calls the Valley of Ridicule, okay? First you're the rebel, okay? And in that stage you take things pretty seriously, and you have to, of course. That's one level of empowerment stage, okay? But then you have to go through the Valley of Ridicule. I call it the ego dissolution funnel, okay? That's the whole thing is also the inwardness meditation process. All of that, the lion too. So you can't be stuck in the lion stage even though you're a rebel. Most people who declare themselves lions are the last humans, according to Friedrich Nietzsche. They misunderstand things. They think they're lions, but they're load-bearing camels. Okay, they buckle to the top, they tread to the bottom. Okay, empower yourself out of that state. Become the actual lion. Become the rebel. Okay, Become the activist and say no to things that don't work. Say no to oppression and dictators and so on. Okay. But we can't stay stuck in that stage, because if we did, then we would stay in anger and all of that. We cannot stay in perpetual anger, of course. We have to come through this, go through this all the way and out the end of the tunnel. Okay, and that's the ego dissolution funnel. And Thomas Metzinger, I guess, calls it the ego tunnel. So you can call it ego tunnel, but it is much clear. It's, for me, I don't really exactly know what he means by this. So maybe, I don't know if he means a therapy process. But what I mean, an actual therapy process, the ego dissolution funnel, okay? Ego is being dissolved in that funnel. Funnel because we're out here somewhere in the margins above the funnel, so we're being drawn into the vortex of that funnel from the outer margins. Funneled in, and then into the actual tunnel of that funnel, and then there's light at the end of that funnel tunnel. Okay, but first we have to go through all kinds of stages in that tunnel. Okay, we have to introspect, we have to allow ourselves to be ridiculed, and we have to laugh along with the people who ridicule us, the people who make a big shit deal about dignity, but they do not grant other people that dignity. No, they want that for themselves. I want all the dignity for myself. You don't respect me, says the last human. You don't respect me. So I kick you into the kitchen where you make me a tamale, and if you better not say anything, because otherwise I'll fly off the handle and I feel disrespected. That's the state of unempowerment. That's the load-bearing camel. When you tread those that don't defend themselves for whatever reason, you are in an unempowered mental state. Friedrich Nietzsche laid this out very carefully in his books. It was his unfinished book, his last book. I think Ecce Homo is his last book. Look Human is the title. Ecce Homo is a Latin title, and old Latin title. And that book is about himself. It's a reflection on it's a life review, because he knew he was going down the drain mentally. He knew he was coming to his end. And he died too early at age 60, but because of that syphilis. But I think that was his last work. And it remained unfinished, and then Sister Elisabeth got a hold of it, of that unfinished book. And Sister Elisabeth was the last human. Okay, she sided with Adolf Hitler and the Nazi regime. Whatever regime. It could have been Kim Jong-un. She would have sided with anything. Because she takes the easy route, the popular route, So, and then she falsified. She completed his book and falsified his philosophy and made it into something that it has nothing to do with. Okay. It gave it ego, it gave it war, it gave it nationality, it gave it the Nazi regime, and I guess a lot of things that Nietzsche said she also must have totally misunderstood, conveniently misunderstood. People are in denial. people go into denial also because they want to go into denial. Okay, that's not just an involuntary form of denial. That's why I get mad sometimes, right? That's why I get mad, because I know that a lot of denial is not just, oh, it just so happened because they don't know, they don't understand it better. No, they want to be understanding it wrong because it serves their storyline. It serves their identification with whatever, their ego identification. And that's what happened with Elizabeth. And that's very tragic. And he tried to teach her when she was younger. He tried real hard. He wrote letters to her, long letters. He said, Elizabeth, if you want freedom of mind, you have to get away from that religion. She was in that Lutheran religion that they all grew up in. Friedrich Nietzsche studied the Bible inside out because he wanted to become a preacher like his father was. He was assigned that profession by his dad, and he took it very seriously in the beginning. And the more thoroughly he studied the Bible, the more he hated it. And the more he knew what a crock of bunch of total BS, total contradictory insanity. Okay, that's what it is. And violent. Okay, so, and he said, that's not for me. Okay. And he stepped away from the church and all of that. He made a lot of people mad. And he wrote letters to Elizabeth, but she didn't listen to him. But he said in his letters, but if you want to sleep well at night, be all peaceful, and be all happy and content and get along with everyone, then stay in that Lutheran brainwash. Stay with that. Continue to dabble with this and live your meaningless life, basically. And she didn't listen to him. She was reading this like she's looking at a curious insect. And kind of like she was reading this with amusement. That was entertainment for Elizabeth to read this really heartfelt, concerned, compassionate letters to her. She couldn't understand it. To her, he was just a clown, So, and it's tragic. All of this very, very. He lived a very tragic life. Very tragic life. Always misunderstood. Couldn't find a girlfriend. His only girlfriend, Lou Andreas Salome, a feminist, one of the very first feminists in Germany. She also had another boyfriend. She had Friedrich and the other one. And then Friedrich became very demanding of her and wanted to marry her. And she said, no, you misunderstand me. I'm a feminist. I'm a freelance lover. Okay, that's what I'm standing up for here. Okay, I'm living that life that I teach. Total empowerment, right? So no, I can have you both. I can do you both. But no, I'm not gonna give the other one up for you to be shackled to your kitchen. So that made him mad, and then they distanced themselves from each other, wrote each other mean letters. She called him little boy. I bet that made him really, really mad. And then he became quite bitter also, because then he was kind of mad at women in general. He made the same mistake as the incel community did here. So But at the same time, he was always vigilantly observing himself. And he knew that the way he was acting was not right. And then he would intellectually, honestly correct himself in his books, and he would make up for it, and he would set the record straight on all empowerment, women empowerment as well. And he was always introspecting. So, and he was going through that valley of ridicule. You know. He was also ridiculing himself. He was also laughing about himself. So I think that's, other than Gautama Buddha, I think that was the only other philosopher who was willing to go through that valley of ridicule at that time, up to that time frame. After that sprang up a couple of jesters, so that belonged to another era. Okay, so in the 1900s. So then, after Nietzsche, after Helena Petrovna, and after Darwin, after the 1800s, and it came the 1900s, and there were a couple of jesters that jumped up and that stood up in rebellion, and some of them were nihilists, and some of them were deconstructionist philosophers, and they question everything inside out and upside down. I don't know how far they were actually willing to go through that valley of ridicule. That means laughing about themselves and allowing other people to laugh about them, and doing something crazy and silly sometimes, and making people laugh. Okay, being weird, weirding people out. So I don't know to which extent they would be going with that. If someone came up to them, if a troll came up to them and bullied them and tried to humiliate them, how would they deal with this? Would they get mad at some point? So I know that Jonathan Miese, which is a modern artist of today, okay, my generation in Germany, one of the top 100 modern artists today. Jonathan Miese is not just an artist. He paints like Lars Ulrich from Metallica. They paint exactly the same way. So, and it's nice, it's kind of cute, so, and it's free, I like it. I wouldn't hang his art in my house. He uses a lot of black, so I guess a lot of men use a lot of black. I don't use black at all, and his figurines and his shapes are very, very pointy and sharp, and that is totally goes against my philosophy. So I paint everything womb-like. I paint hearts and wombs and dogs and blue gods, and everything is compact but rounded and amorphous and soft and squishy. Okay, so that's what I do, and I don't use black. I use a lot of pink and a lot of colors. So I like my own artwork in my house. That's what I like, and that's good. So, but Jonathan Miese, from all of those artists, and I've met a lot of artists also through my parents, who know some famous artists, and I've met some unfamous artists. I met a lot of artists in my life, and I was friends, really close friends, in an open relationship with an artist in Germany, Otto Helberk, and that's very tragic what happened to him. A jealous girlfriend or a jealous husband or something of his lover I don't know who it was, but some jealous, angry person stabbed Otto in his back with a knife 80 times. So he bled to death in front of his door. And his friend found him, and we were all shocked to the core. We thought this would never happen to one of our friends. Okay. It was awful. It was horrific. I missed him so much. Horrific. Nobody owned Otto. Otto owned himself. Artists cannot be owned by anyone, cannot be claimed by a lover. They're freelance lovers, okay? They need to be free. Very tragic. But I don't know about Otto or any of these people that I met, how far they're willing to go through that Valley of Ridicule. I think some of them went pretty far into it. That is also part of being an artist, a real artist. A real artist can laugh about herself or himself, so. But Jonathan Mese really stands out. Yeah. The contemporary Jonathan Mese in Berlin. And he lives with his mother. His mother is his mentor and caregiver, really. Jonathan is really a little bit on the savage autism spectrum, almost. But I wouldn't say he's a savant, but a little bit in that direction. So, because I think he would give everything away, like me. He would give everything away and then end up not having anything. And like a naive child, he wants to just make everyone happy all the time, And his mother sees that with dread. His old mother probably says to his friends, I can't die, because if I die, then what would happen to Jonathan? So, and she sees that with dread when fans come up to him and want him to take photos with them, and he's very, very famous, and they want him to make just a little painting for them, just a little painting, a little toilet paper sheet with a scribble by Jonathan Mese already costs $50,000. I'm not exaggerating this, okay? So when the fans come there, hey, just a little for me as a friend, right? You're making a little drawing on here. No. That's taking advantage already, because everyone would want it, and the gallerist certainly doesn't want to give anything away. And the mother sees that with dread, because she knows that they just want to take advantage of him. They don't respect his beingness. So she interferes. She has a very reason-based thinking and mind, which is good, very helpful for him. And he pushes these people away. And they love each other deeply. They're like very, very close friends, very close, deep friendship, unity. I envy that, to have that kind of unity to your mother. I guess most people don't even have that. But Jonathan Mese is the epitome of that, what he teaches. He goes through the Valley of Ridicule. They tried to do all kinds of shit pulling on him. They tried to, because he has that Hitler sign, but he makes fun of it. People don't understand it. So they already, how many Germans are real rigid-brained. There's a Hitler sign. I'm gonna sue him for that, right? So they put him on trial, and he just stays, Jonathan Mese, in front of the judges and makes everyone laugh. and makes everyone happy. And he goes home and they go, let's dismiss this. This is not going anywhere. Because he's just not. He is not vibing with this rigidity of the average German brain. The average German brain, they take themselves super seriously. Everything has to be ordered in a rigid way, and it's all taken seriously, everything. I'm all for order, but I am not for taking oneself seriously at all, whatsoever. So Jonathan Mese is that, what he teaches. He is the clown, the jester. He loves Nietzsche. He has made Nietzsche into many sculptures, many, with a real oversized mustache and stuff like that. He's really cool. I wanted to meet him. My brother was friends with him. They were friends before Jonathan became famous. And my brother told me, I know someone who's just like you. I need you two to get together. And I would have been. I would have for sure. I think he is absolutely stunning and amazing in every way. And that would have been a blast to be living with Jonathan Mese, getting to know him and talking all night long about philosophy and painting paintings together and all of that. But my brother didn't have me on his mind. He had himself on his mind, and he was just too immersed, like my dad, in his own life, in his own struggles, in his own drama and so on. He forgot about it. He never got me together with Jonathan Mese. Then Jonathan Mese became famous. I wrote to him. I tried to tell him that my brother knew him and wanted to get us together, and I would love to talk to him. Those letters never reached him. Okay, he is as famous as Scarlett Johansson. That's the truth. And he has a crush on Scarlett Johansson, real serious crush on her. Yeah, he took many photos of her and made collages with it. He called her mouse the lollipop mouse. He absolutely loves Scarlett Johansson, and maybe they even got together. Who knows? Okay, he has a secret girlfriend, and one time they showed, a short blonde in a trench coat, but with blonde hair, but they didn't show her face, so could have been her. Who knows? So that would be awesome if they got together. It's good when two people get together that are really into each other. That's really good. Two people that really love each other on all levels. That's the best. And I wish that for everybody. Okay, the video is almost an hour now. I am leaving. Peace and love for all living beings.